Today's we got something very unique. We're going to discuss Vivitar. Some of you guys will remember that name from the old days, but some of you are younger probably don't know. So Mr. Wu's going to go over all the details of Vivitar, how they started, and who they were, and why you might want to pick one up for one of your mirrorless cameras today. Okay, what do we got here, Mr. Wu?
Yeah, today we have the interchangeable lenses for the SRR made by Vivitar. Vivitar was an American company, an optical design company. They never actually had a factory of their own. So they designed various lenses and they got the manufacturers in Japan to make for them. Various companies did it. So they had a numbering system. On the lens serial number, the first two numbers denote which company made for them. You can Google that chart in the internet, you can find out. So various companies have made for them, Kiron, Tokina, Komini, and so on. So they just make those lenses to the design that Vivita gave to them. And the idea of this lens was this was the Vivita T4 system. In other words, they did not make fixed mount, but they make a lens with a changeable mount. So if you had many different camera, you can use the same lens on all of them for the user. So you don't have to have, you've got 5 camera system, you don't have to have 5 system of lenses. And if you are a photo retailer, you also can trim down your inventory. You only need to keep one set of lens and order a whole bunch of adapters, inexpensive. And then you can mix and match according to the customer's need. So one set of lens, one inventory, and the whole boxes of adapter. And then if he owns a Nikon, then you put the Nikon mount. If he owns a Canon, you put the Canon mount. You use a Leica, you put a Leica mount. You got a Topcon, you put a Topcon. You got an Exacta, you put an Exacta, and so on. So this lens was quite well designed. This particular one, I use it for my work. Not this particular specimen, but this particular one. I use it for my first 8 years of photography, 35 2.8. So now it's mounted on a Nikon. So you got a rabbit ear, you will couple for the metering and focusing. But if I decide to put it on a different camera, say for example, if I want to put it on a Minolta, so I look for a Minolta mount. So I think, yeah, I got the Minolta mount here. I take it off, you see got the O and the L. L for lock, O for open. So you push this little tab and turn it in the direction of the arrow. So that will unlock the mount. And you can leave it off. So now to install the mount, there's an arrow here and an arrow here and a prong. So you see this, inside there's a claw. So you match that. So Minolta, yeah. Yeah, you see it runs, you lock it. So now is Minolta. So you will function for the Minolta. So take out the lens, then mount it like a Minolta lens, dot to dot. Give a twist, and there you go. So the Nikon lens has become a Minolta lens. Likewise, you can put it on a Pentax screw mount. So this already have a Pentax screw mount made on it. So yeah, Pentax screw mount. So, but it's the same. In other words, this lens wears many hats. So if you have a Canon, you have Canon. Let's see, let's turn it on.
How do they get the rights to be able to use?
Oh, they talk to the camera maker. I suppose they got a license to do that. So this is the Canon bridge lock. Now, at that point, the cameras were not so complicated. So basically what they did is just do the mechanical linkage to link the aperture coupling and to link the opening and closing of the aperture. Later on, when the camera became more complex with more electronics, then they changed the system from T4 to TX. This is a TX mount. So it has extra coupling. So the TX, with the TX, you could use it on the Pentax K. You could use it on the Olympus. You could use it on a few newer cameras. But later on, when the camera came into the electronic era, then this method of mechanical coupling no longer work well. You can make a mechanical mount, but you cannot transfer the electronic data. So it stopped there. So, but while it was good, you just have a few lenses and a bunch of mount like I collected over the years. So I think the most I have is Nikon. So this is a Nikon TX, a TX, and a TX for Nikon. You can see the rabbit ear. Then yeah, all these are Nikon. Then I have this one. I have the mount. I don't have the camera. This is no, this is Canon. Canon, I have the camera. So this is Canon. We go for the FTB, the FLFD lenses. This one, I have the mount. I do not have the lens. No, I don't have the camera. This is MIR, Miranda. So you can fit Miranda. You can fit all cameras like Leica Flex SL, Topcon, Exacta. So if you have all these cameras, you can use the same set of lens. So no worry. But you see that I got the most number of mount is the Nikon. So I can actually pre-mount all this and it will fit my Nikon, no problem.
How was the quality of the glass?
For this day and age, it was good. Big bang for your buck, they call it. So I shot it for my work for 8 years. I was a photographer. I covered Goodyear Tire Company for 5 years. I covered the Esso oil and gas company for 5 years. And anything that moved or didn't move in Esso and Goodyear, I was there.
Was it considerably cheaper
Oh yeah.
than original?
Maybe at least, not to say half, but at least close to 30%. And yeah, they have some focal length the camera maker may not have. So this one I have is a 21 3.8. I do all my wide angle shots with this. And with this lens, I don't even look through the viewfinder to focus. I look through the viewfinder to compose. I just use the distance scale and use a small enough aperture, and that's it. Even for this one, which I use almost daily. So when I go to a ballroom, go to the Hilton Ivana ballroom, the lights are dim and everybody is partying, so I shoot. So I know with a 35mm, if I want to take a group of 3 people chatting, that should be about 10 feet. For a 35mm lens, 10 feet, I would get that view. So I just set it to 10 feet, and I was carrying a very huge flash, a Mecha Blitz 402, 502. That was a lot of power.
Is that hammerhead?
With a battery pack. And I would just put it at f8, you know. At f8, it is big power. So at 10 feet at f8, I got enough depth of field to cover me from 6 feet right down to about almost 30 feet, which is good depth of field. So I don't have to worry about a fine focus. So I only look at the distance scale because it's quite dark. So 10 feet for 3-4 person. If I'm shooting a vertical shot, full length, maybe I put 7 feet, I tilt my camera. Or I take a half body shot, I put at 5 feet. If I take a group of people, maybe 10, 12 people in a group, I just put 15 feet. My aperture is f8, so no worry. So easy to use. And this lens you can focus down to 0.3 meter for the lens at that time. You can focus down to 0.3 meter.
So what happened to Vivitar?
Okay, they were good for making lenses, and they also make good flashes. They have some good flash, the Vivitar 283, 285. It's only when camera became autofocus and more electronic, then they stopped. But maybe for other reason, financially or otherwise, I don't know. But they have some early AF lenses. Their early AF lenses, the the focus module was inside the lens. The sensor was inside the lens. So you couple it on the body. The camera body got nothing to do with the focusing, just to mount the lens. The beam splitter is inside the lens, and they take the contrast measurement, and the motor will move the lens element. So they had that. Up to the point of the autofocus SLR camera, they were still around. They still make some autofocus lenses, but I think later on, either the business or whatever, they faded off. There's another companion company, Soligo. Soligo was a German company, and they had the same contractor as Vivitar. So they had an almost identical range of lenses. Vivitar have this, they also have that, and the mounts that they make were also similar, because they were made by the same subcontractor. So that's okay. So you can interchange Vivitar and Soligo. You can change it over. They make many people happy. So those don't have deep pocket, they can enjoy your photography. And for the photo retailer, you don't have to keep so many. You just keep one set of each of the focal length, and you have a whole bunch of adapter, and you can mix. If you like to have camera, you find that each different camera is unique in their own way. So you have many camera, but you can just use one set of lens for all of them. So that was it. Nice.
Oh, that's great, man.
Yeah.
What a great story. I always wondered about that. Always learned something new from Mr. Wu. Well, your fan base really appreciates your last video on the books. That was a big hit. So I think this Vivitar, where it just kind of disappeared, unfortunately. So now we know the history of it.
Okay, one innovation that Vivitar did was the Series 1 lenses. They designed high-end lenses. They were not just making a Me Too lens or just to go by lens. They decided to make a groundbreaking lens. And at that time, when you say zoom lens, all the photographers, they say they won't touch the zoom lens with a 10-foot pole because the quality is so horrible. But when the Vivitar came up with the 70-210 3.5 Series 1 lens, that was a hit. That lens was as good as a prime lens. And that started the camera maker to also improve on their own zoom lenses. Today, zoom lenses can take the place of the prime lens. Focal length to focal length, they are just as good. Only thing maybe the aperture not so big.
And that's what I think is a big old wise tale, that you got to have prime for quality, and zooms don't give you that. But I think that's, as you stated, it's false.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Wu.
All right, welcome.
And look forward to the next video
Yeah.
on something that you'll surprise us. Okay, you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.